juffrosters. De lekker juffrosters. Ja.
Hi! Says, hi guys! Canadians are brilliant! Oh god, dude, that's awesome!
Well, do you want to walk down there and see it from below first?
That's crazy. Probably.
The sheep.
So apparently, that cow over there, he has to be separated from these guys
Because he's 3.
because he's 3 and very hungry. And as soon as he's done his food over there, He's gonna try to steal these guys' food because they're old.
20 years old.
20? Is that what he said?
Yeah, he said they're 20. They have
Holy
right
crap.
now.
Anybody recognise it? Down. Plenty of. This is where the golden trio camp out when they're looking for the hawk crops. Down here, right there. We can't actually get from there, so we can't. But that down there, right? It's plenty of. Do we have any James Bond fans?